Gods of Africa, where are you? Did you know in the beginning Africa was alive with gods? The people saw them everywhere. In thunder, in rivers, in fire, in the dance of the drums. They heard them everywhere. In the whisper of leaves, in the crash of waves, in the heartbeat of the earth. The gods were not distant, they were family. Shango's thunder gave rain. Oshun's waters gave life. Nyame's wisdom guided kings. People honored them with shrines, sacrifices, and songs. As long as their names were spoken, the gods were strong. The power of the gods was in the stories, the rituals, the drum beats that echoed across the savannas and valleys. Life revolved around the seasons of the gods. When Ogun, the iron-wielding warrior, came, it was time for planting. When Yemoja, the mother of the oceans, called for fish, the fishermen set sail. When Obatala, the creator, blessed the earth with children, families rejoiced. For the people, these gods were more than stories. They were life. But then, one day, everything changed. Something dark descended upon the land. It started with whispers, stories of a great king who ruled far beyond the seas. He was called the King of Kings, and he spoke of a different kind of power, a power that could bring men closer to the very source of existence. This was no ordinary ruler. He was the vessel of a higher purpose, tasked with sharing the word of a singular, all-powerful God, a God who resided in the heavens. This God was unlike any the Africans had known. He claimed to be the architect of the universe, the maker of heaven and earth. He offered salvation, an eternal paradise for those who believed in him and submitted to his word. And he promised punishment, an eternal fire for those who rejected him. The people were captivated by these teachings. Could this be the answer to their prayers? Could there truly be one God who held the secrets of the universe? Many were drawn to the idea, eager to explore this new path to the divine. The allure of a personal God who offered direct access to the heavens was too strong to resist. People began leaving their old ways, turning away from the familiar gods of their ancestors to embrace this newfound faith. Then came the missionaries. They carried with them the scriptures, tales of creation, of miracles, and laws from a world unknown. They spoke of a God who demanded devotion, a God who required worship. In every village square, they stood tall, declaring the word of their God, offering salvation to those who would listen. Their voices resonated with the people, and slowly but surely the Africans began to listen. The hold that the old gods had over their lives started to weaken. Shrines once brimming with offerings grew empty. Drums that once echoed with ancestral rhythms fell silent. The shift was subtle at first, but over time it became undeniable. The African gods, once so revered, were fading into obscurity. With each passing day, their places in the hearts and minds of the people were taken by the new God, the God of the missionaries. They were losing their grip on the people. Fearful and confused, some tried to resist, clinging tightly to the fading echoes of tradition. But the new faith was like a wildfire, spreading quickly through the lands. Before long, the people's choice became clear. The old ways were being replaced by the new, and the question arose, what would become of the African gods now? What would become of them in a world that was rapidly embracing change? Chapter 2. The Silence of Shrines. Across Africa, the gods sensed a profound unease. Their connection to the land, to the people, seemed to be fraying. Shango felt his power waning. The rains that once poured from his mighty fists were becoming scarce. Oshun watched as her sacred rivers ran dry. Nyame knew that his wisdom was no longer sought after. Each god grappled with a dawning realization. Their strength, their very essence, was tied to the beliefs and practices of the people. And those beliefs were shifting like the sands of the desert. But they didn't fall because the new god fought them. They fell because the people forgot them. A god's strength lives in the prayers of their people. Without prayers, they withered. And the most painful part was the reason behind their fading. It wasn't a battle, a war, or a natural disaster that was causing their decline. It was the gradual erosion of faith, the slow fade of remembrance. As the people turned their backs on the old ways, the gods were left in the cold. Their temples were abandoned, their altars neglected. The vibrant ceremonies that once pulsed with life became desolate rituals devoid of meaning. It was a heartbreaking sight, a slow and silent demise that left the gods questioning their purpose, wondering why they were being forgotten. Chapter 3. Hidden Not Dead. Meanwhile, across the vast ocean, in lands both near and far, the gods found refuge. Some slipped into the shadows, becoming spirits of the forest, of the rivers, of the mountains. They hid, hoping that one day the people would remember them. Others were carried away, not as powerful deities, but as enslaved Africans stripped of their dignity and chained in the holds of ships. Still, in their songs and dances, they kept the gods alive, and in Haiti, Brazil, and Cuba, the gods found new homes. They merged with local traditions, becoming saints in churches that whispered of ancient powers. They waited patiently, knowing that even in disguise, their spirits endured. Back in Africa, the story was different. Here, the gods were almost erased, forgotten in the rush of progress. Yet even in the bustling cities and modern towns, some individuals held on. They gathered in secret, speaking the old names, keeping the memories alive. They formed tight-knit communities where the gods were honored in hushed tones and small gestures. It was a desperate attempt to keep the traditions alive. Epilogue. The answer. Now, centuries have passed since the arrival of the book. The world has changed. Africa has changed. But one question remains: why did the African gods disappear when the Bible came? The simple answer is, the people forgot them. But it's not that simple. You see, gods live only when men believe. When the book came, belief shifted. The people gave their faith to another. Yet the truth is this: the gods did not die. They wait. In thunder, in rivers, in the shadows of memory, waiting for the day their names are spoken again. And maybe, just maybe, if we listen closely, we can hear their whispers in the wind, feel their presence in the warmth of the sun on our skin, see their reflections in the depths of a starlit sky. The story of the African gods is not an ending, but a waiting for the day when their children will return to them, when the drums will beat again and the shrines will be filled with offerings once more.